Welcome to Doctrine and Devotion, a podcast that explores Christian faith and practice from a Reformed Baptist perspective. My name is Joe Thorne. I'm the lead pastor of Redeemer Fellowship in St. Charles, Illinois.
And I'm Jimmy Fowler, executive pastor at Redeemer Fellowship.
Hey.
Hey.
You know, you're getting ready to leave again.
Actually, at this point, when this drops, I will be heading to the airport.
Again. Leaving me again. Going to the fights. Going to Vegas, and you're taking Greg.
And the Hall of Fame induction ceremony that John Jones is going to be inducted in.
Yeah.
And they got me tickets. And
I'm sure. I'm sure when I'm not there, it's the red carpet rollout for Jimmy and his gang of friends.
Letting you know, my childhood friend takes care of me.
Yeah, except when I'm there.
Yeah. He tried.
Mm-hmm. Okay. No, it's fine. And you could have taken me to this, too. You're taking everybody else.
I cannot.
You're buying everybody else all these
things. First of all, I'm not buying anybody anything.
You buy everybody plane tickets, first class. You buy everybody.
Anything. No, stop it.
You put them up in the penthouse suites.
No, first of all, I'm the only one that stays in the penthouse suite. You know that.
No, I know. You got to take your people that you work with. I get it.
Yeah, I know. It's because I've got, there's a show called Pack Expo.
Yeah, people really want to hear about that. Go tell more about Pack Expo.
Anyways,
awesome.
It's for secondary packaging down the line. I got to go buy some equipment. That's the show's there.
Yeah. Okay.
It just so happens to be.
No, it's fine. It's fine. No, I think it's great.
And the Hall of Fame induction.
All right. I'm sure you can.
I'll send you a photo of John.
Send me some photo. I like it when you send me photos.
I don't know. I feel bad.
No, I like it. It's like I'm there.
But you're not.
I know. Yeah. Which is, in some ways is good for me.
In some ways, it's better for me.
Yeah, see?
Yeah, wait.
It's win-win.
No, yeah.
Hey,
win?
you should,
Yeah.
Because then I got to pretend I'm having a good time and stuff.
That sounds like you.
Yeah. That's just... So, well, listen, we're doing a bonus episode, and no, are we not doing a bonus episode? Okay. Because we've changed what we're doing so many times.
I know, but here's the problem: is 1, you're old; 2, you're tired.
Yeah.
And 3, you don't write anything down.
No.
So it's hard for you to keep track.
This is not a bonus episode.
No,
it's a Thursday episode.
We're pushing back.
Okay.
The episode that was supposed to be for today.
Yes.
What was it going to be? Baptist Catechism 106.
Yeah, we could put that on Tuesday or something.
Or
right?
just Monday. Why not?
Oh, that's what I meant, Monday. Jeez, I don't know. I'm way.
Wow.
I'm overcharged. So, what there's been a lot going on in the SBC. You guys, most of you know that we're a Southern Baptist church. I've been a Southern Baptist since 1994. And I'm one of those guys that have always encouraged, especially our younger pastors and members, stay in the SBC, work for change, stay focused on the mission, because we're always getting better. And I've seen people jump ship and leave quite a bit over the years. I've stayed in, and we're at another place in our history where a lot of people are talking about leaving.
Yeah.
And one of the current issues that's getting a lot of attention and is frustrating a lot of people is a situation that's going on with our executive committee. Now, to help us think through this and talk about what's going on, we've got Adam Wyatt on the blower. Adam, what's up?
Hello. How are you guys doing tonight? Huh?
We're doing good. Jimmy's getting ready to leave me, so
so I'm doing fantastic.
Whatever. Now,
there you go.
For those of you who don't know, a lot of you follow Adam Wyatt on Twitter, I'm sure. It's at pastor_Adam. But Adam is a pastor. He pastors Corinth Baptist Church. He has a PhD.
Oh.
Wait a minute. From Midwestern, that stands for post hole digger, doesn't it? Is that what that is?
Yeah, hey man, easy.
Yeah, I know. Hey, hold on though. First of all, pastor_Adam, and you don't even make fun of him.
He's got a PhD.
For years, you've ripped on me. For years.
Yeah, exactly.
You come at me for having
yours
two
makes no
numbers.
sense.
Yes, it does.
Underscore and a number.
First of all, I don't have underscore. There is no underscore.
It's an underscore. And a tilde at the end.
Stop it. You're lying. There is no such thing. It just has 6-3.
Oh, there is. There is.
Wait, what?
It's there, man.
No.
Yeah, see? Thank you, Adam. Adam would know. He's smart. Now, also, he is, listen, the reason Adam's on with us is he is a member of the SBC Executive Committee. So Adam has been vocal on Twitter the last couple of days, talking about part of his experience as a member of the executive committee going through this process. So Adam, for our people, and thank you for spending some time. I know you're a busy guy, you're a pastor, you got a lot going on, and we know you got to get out of here. So maybe you can help us think through and help our listeners understand what's going on. Can you first explain to everybody what the heck is an executive committee of the Southern Baptist Convention? What is that thing?
Well, I'm still trying to figure that out myself. To the best of our explanation, the SBC Executive Committee really exists to help do the will of the convention, which technically only meets a couple of days a year at the annual meeting. We come, we do our business, we vote, we do our stuff, we leave. The convention technically no longer exists, and we act for the messengers ad interim, so that means between the meetings, and basically we just try to keep the convention doing what it's supposed to do. Most of that just means that we let the trustees of each institution do what they do, right? Mm-hmm. So our seminaries keep going, and our entities keep sending missionaries, planting churches, the whole thing, and we just kind of act on their behalf between the conventions. Also, the cooperative program money comes into Nashville. We make sure it goes to where it's supposed to be. And by and large, that's pretty much the biggest things that we have. We need, or that we do, rather.
So we need an executive committee to get things done in between our annual meetings. To it's not that you guys are essentially carrying. I read earlier that one of the things that you guys do is that you. Let me read it. You tell me if this is accurate. Let's see. Although the executive committee does not control or direct the activities of the convention agencies, it reviews their financial statements and recommends the convention annual operating budget. In addition, it receives and distributes the monies, like you just talked about, Southern Baptist give in support of denominational ministries, blah, blah, blah. The executive committee also performs other tasks assigned by the SBC and promotes the general work of Southern Baptists. So that all makes sense. We need some guys to, handle business because we're not all there, and we need people to do that. Okay, so that makes sense. So you guys, how often does the executive committee meet?
I think it's 3 meetings per year. And then, I assume that there will be, when I say meetings, as in we go to Nashville, meet collectively. Right. And there will obviously have to be some things periodically that we'll have to do our own meetings on, like, hopefully in 6 or so days, we'll be having another meeting to discuss what we just did last night. So, and I assume with those, you're looking at distance, Zoom, whatever, and then, communications throughout the year. But, I've only been on since June, so some of that's still going to be kind of new. So that's my best case guess, is that's kind of how we're going to kind of continue to move forward.
All right, cool. And there are 86 members of the executive committee. Is that right?
Yes, and basically each state association gets so many, and I can't remember if it's based on church memberships or monies given. So it's almost kind of like how each state gets a certain amount of electoral college votes. It's very similar to that. So Mississippi has 3, Texas has 5.
Okay,
for example.
Right, makes sense. Okay, all right, great. So going into this, I was at the 2020 annual meeting. And 2021?
Right. We are in 2021.
It was a 2021 meeting.
Well done.
Well, I get confused. I don't remember.
You really are.
I'm not paying attention.
You are off your game.
Oh, listen.
I don't know.
I haven't been on game. COVID.
Since COVID.
I had COVID.
You have been off your game since COVID.
My blood pressure's
COVID brain, man. It's a real deal.
I know. Tell me about it. So, all right. So I was there, and
that's where you got COVID from.
I don't think so. It was, and I love the convention in terms of like the churches that are there, the people. There's always like some groups that are just like loud and obnoxious, small little pockets of people. It's going to be, and I would probably be considered a loud and obnoxious person sometimes, but
all the time, yeah.
But the people there are great, and the people there, sent the executive committee away with certain business to attend to. So what is it that everybody's been talking about online that you guys have been working through, and why is like Religious News Service, Julie Roy's, why is everybody right now talking about the executive committee? I mean, I've never seen the executive committee get this much press before. So what's going on?
Yeah. Well, just I like you. I was a messenger at the annual meeting, and obviously over the last couple of years, sexual abuse has become, unfortunately, a prominent thing. And so, due to a variety of things, obviously, it became apparent that some sort of investigation needed to happen in regards to the executive committee. And before I was a member, it seemed as if the executive committee made an effort to kind of look into some of that. But due to the will of the messengers and the way we do business, that plan was shot down, defeated, and instead a much more comprehensive one was proffered, and it was overwhelmingly passed by the messengers that we would do an independent third-party investigation where the next president would elect a task force. The task force would hire a third party. The third party would investigate, and the investigation would come back to the third party or to the task force to make some sort of recommendations and a report at next annual meeting. So when we go into this past first meeting, 100 days roughly after that annual meeting, I think it was fully expected that we would proceed with what the messengers told us to do. And I think the reason that so much press has happened since then is because we did not do what the messengers told us to do in a unprecedented move by a board of trustees of our convention. And so that's the reason we are in the news yet again for something we probably wish we weren't.
So if you don't mind me, so why is it then? So what aspect of the meeting, or I guess, what didn't you guys do to fulfill what the messengers asked? So what's the pressing issue here?
Yeah, I mean, I think the pressing issue is we did not waive privilege, attorney-client privilege. Now, most of the reasons kind of given for that were offered in an executive session, and so I can't speak about what happened in executive session.
Of course.
But I can talk about anything that kind of happened publicly. And so publicly, really the seeming issue, and I'm not going to mischaracterize anybody that voted a different way than I did. I'm not. Because there is an issue that we have as trustees, and it's our fiduciary duty. That's a big fancy legal term that says, we are responsible to our institution. The institution in this case is the executive committee, but however, it's different for us also because if you remember the sole membership issue that's come up in the last few years, which is another legal issue that's kind of complicated. But what it says is that the sole member that we represent really is the Southern Baptist Convention, which would be the messengers. So in this case, the messengers, who we are supposed to be responsible to, told us to do something that we did not do, but we used some legal terms to keep us from doing that. Some of the fears were that, if we do this, our insurance is going to, deny us or reject us. We may make ourselves liable. We may open up lawsuits. There's these, and I'm not trying to say that those fears may not actually be indeed the case. But I also think that the messengers, I think, clearly understood that, hey, look, if we do a real thorough investigation, I mean, it's going to get messy. Because we realize what we're investigating. I don't think messengers are stupid. I clearly knew when I voted, hey, look, let's get to the bottom of this, and if it's bad, let's just rip the Band-Aid off. Let's deal with it head on and be honest about it. And so the issue is we did eventually fund it. We did eventually we came up with a compromise of some sort that the task force at least was agreeable to, but it did not waive privilege, which is what the messengers clearly asked for. Now, there's still 7 days or 6.5 days left for the officers of the EC to come forward with something to work alongside the task force. So I am hopeful that in 6 days we'll have an agreement. So I'd rather be a week late, because at the end of the day, the motion didn't say y'all will do this at the next meeting,
right?
But clearly the expectation was that that's going to be the case. I mean, after all, if you had 100 days to come up with something and you still don't have something, so that looks like a leadership issue. So, but that's really the issue is waiving privilege, that people didn't want to do that. We came up with an alternative motion that honored the intent and the expressed desires of the convention. It was shot down. 20 of us stood up and said we agree with it, and here we are.
Now, I wanted to get to this earlier for people that might not know. We're talking about sexual abuse allegations, and so let's just be really clear here. There are allegations that the executive committee or members of the executive committee did not properly respond to accusations of sexual abuse within the SBC. Is that a fair way to say it?
I think that's a fair way to say it. I think that is.
So it's not that anybody. It's not that
because after all, we're looking.
Go ahead.
Yeah, because it's not like that. It's not like we're investigating churches. The issue was specifically investigate the executive committee.
But it's not that anybody on the executive committee is being accused of those crimes. It's just how did they handle people who came forward with accusations in certain situations? Is that correct?
I hope that's the case.
Yeah.
I hope that's the case. But the other implication is without really looking into it, how can you assume that? I mean, if you look at the history of the SBC Executive Committee, we know, our last, Frank Page was dismissed for sexual impropriety.
That's right.
So you can't. Okay. All right. So there's one issue there. We know that there has been some because of leaked information, those kind of things, that we know our current president, there was some stuff that kind of went to him. So we know that. We know there's stuff in the past. We know that we have Augie Bodo, who's been denied any sort of fiduciary role in any SBC trustee. He was on board. I mean, we know that there has been some issues. Mm-hmm. I mean, so there's no necessarily denying that. But also you do have, hey, look, we know people have come, or people are saying, look, we came to you. We tried to get some help and we didn't get it. I had a pastor contact me several weeks ago with direct information about how he himself came to a previous a president within the scope of the investigation and said, I have information. What do I do with it? And I said, man, I don't know. I said, well, so I got in contact with someone and said, hey, you need to get this person in contact with the task force. I'm trying to stay impartial. As best. Right. I don't want to tell them anything, but I was like, this is information they need. And it's a pastor I know dearly, and I'm like, I had no idea. And so we know that there's some things out there, but without waiving privilege. I mean, if the SBC asks us to be investigated, but yet we're the people being investigated that have the authority to give you the information, that doesn't look good, Why
is it important to waive privilege for those that are arguing for it, to waive the attorney-client privilege? Why is that? What is potentially not going to be found, or what is potentially not going to be clarified if they don't do that?
Well, and some of that's got to be legal issues, and I'm not a lawyer, but if we don't waive it, we will claim we can't share it, right?
Yeah.
So, because if we say, hey, that's privilege, you can't have it because of attorney-client privilege, well, then what are they actually going to get? Is it really going to be a thorough investigation from an independent third party if we're the ones that give over the information and we're the ones that make we say that you can have, but this you can't? It's privilege. Therefore, waiving privilege within the scope of the motion by the messengers gives them access to actually open the books and see what's actually there. It can't be impartial if we're the ones if we are the ones that make the decision on what's turned over. It can't be impartial.
It's hard to say that the investigation is transparent when the gatekeeper is not willing to step aside.
Yeah.
Exactly, and especially when the gatekeeper has been told by the owner of the gate to get out the way.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is. I mean, I'll be honest. We had members asking us at a recent elders meeting, "Are we going to leave the SBC because there's some nuttiness, right?" And I explained, "Listen, that's always an option. We got to talk about where we're at, who we're aligned with, but we don't act rashly, right? So we want to go to the next meeting. We want to keep praying about things. We recently left Acts 29, the church planting network that we were a part of since 2008. And it took us 3 years,
to sort through that,
where we thought like we might want to leave. And then 3 years later, we finally left. And so, but this, like, to see the executive committee that's really kind of like supposed to be running the show in between our convention to not do what they were specifically asked to do is concerning for me. And I know it will be for a lot of our people, especially because we are very serious. At least we try to be very serious about God, gospel, and mission, and we are very sensitive to sexual abuse and the mistreatment of people who are in need, and how we protect them. And so this is going to raise a lot of concerns. And so that's why, I want to know as much as we can, like how, what's going on, what can we be praying for? And maybe that's a question here. We're talking about the executive committee, hopefully coming to a place, and you're saying it's still possible that they might be able to come to a place where they will decide to waive the attorney-client privilege in the next week.
I mean, I genuinely hope so. I mean, that's where we left the agreement that, of course it was yesterday. So 7 days from yesterday, with the officers meeting with the task force, they'll hammer out an agreement. But still, the issue really still is privilege. We funded the task force, so they're going to continue their investigation. That was very, very important, according to Bruce Franks and some of the members of the task force that I talked to. That they couldn't afford to stop investigating and just stop it cold turkey. They needed to continue on. So we gave them the money to do it. Of course, is it a good investigation? That's entirely, I can't tell you that if privilege isn't waived. So, yes, there's still hope that in less than 7 days there's an agreement on waiving privilege. I'm hopeful that happens. I'm also thinking, well, we had 100 days, we haven't got it done. So I'm skeptical, but I'm also hopeful. So we need to pray that happens. And the only way that's going to happen is if people get fed up with it and call their trustees to say, hey, look, I'm disappointed in this. We need to move forward. Or, calling the executive committee office and telling people how they feel. Just on because I literally drove in from Nashville today, and I've been doing interviews pretty much ever since. If I've already talked to several pastors, two churches are already pulling out $100,000 of cooperative funds. I mean, today, and they told me that. I said, well, they're still going to give to IMB. They're still going to give to the entities. They're not going to send the check to Nashville. They're going to send their checks directly to the other institutions. And all I said is like, well, you guys have to do what you guys think's best, especially as a church. But I said, if you're going to do that, I think it's important that you send a letter to the office, to your trustees, and saying, I'm doing this because of this. Right. Because what we don't want is to look at our budget next year and say, well, cooperative program giving went down 10% or 3% or whatever, and we just chalk it up to, tithes were lower. Right. If in response you can say, no, we lost, $7 million that we can attribute directly to these churches pulling out because of the decision we made. So I think it would be important also to say, if you're going to do something different financially, you need to be real careful on how you do it. But it would be helpful for you to communicate the why you're doing it as well. I think that's important.
Adam, I have a question, and I don't want it to sound, I guess off-putting, but I'm just going to ask the question.
Jimmy's off-putting. It's okay.
Yeah. So I guess what's the point of continuing an investigation that is not transparent enough, right? I guess I understand the mentality of, okay, we have 7 days and we can't afford to lose a day, right? Like that the task force is saying. But if it's not a transparent investigation and there's no intention by the executive committee to follow through with that mandate, then why spend the money on something that we can't trust?
Yeah, that's a fair point. I would say one, because that is one thing that the messengers asked for. All right. And so I think it's important to at least move forward on some of the things that we told them to do. Second, I would say a lot of the stuff's already public knowledge. It's just not known to everybody, if that makes sense. So if an investigation were to take all the stuff that's already known and were to formalize it before the convention, I think you would inform a lot of convention messengers things that some people already know. So I think that would be helpful.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still entirely possible that you can make certain claims of, hey, these are some things you guys need to work on, because part of the motion also said, bring forth some best practices. So, I mean, I think a group that knows what they're looking for could still probably come later on and say, hey, listen, here's 10 things you guys could do right now to shore up some issues. And I still think that would be helpful. You may not be able to bring everything to light, but you might also be able to bring some more structure to the issue. So I still think it's worth doing, even if it's not as transparent as it should be. But if it's not transparent as it should be, I think at Anaheim the messengers still have an opportunity to clearly speak to it. And that's not the task force problem, and that's not their fault. If we as members of the EC don't do what we were asked or told to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would imagine that Anaheim's going to be hot, and it's
always is. But
so much drama, but this is important stuff, and so depending on how this continues to unfold, we definitely want to hold people accountable, and we're grateful for those that serve. We really are, especially in particular those who serve well in faith and are trying to do what's right. So we're really grateful for that. We'll be praying, and we want to encourage our people to pray. One of the things that I think, I hope that our Southern Baptist listeners will keep in mind is just you don't be the reactionary person that overreacts overly quickly, right? Like, take the opportunity to talk to your state association or your state convention, whatever it's called. We have a state association here in Illinois, and I will be talking to them. But reach out, find out what's going on, share your concerns, and then make a decision about what you're going to do prayerfully, carefully, and do so for the good of the convention, do so for the good of your church, and just recognize that things change. Like, the people change, like God does great things, and what we are today is not who we'll be as a convention tomorrow. Hopefully we'll be better, but we have to go through some garbage. Right. We went through some garbage. We were founded on some garbage, and we worked through that, and so I think we still can. Adam, man, we are so grateful. I know you got to go. You got pastoral responsibilities. We're grateful for you. Thank you for giving us time. And we'll drop this on a Thursday. Tomorrow. But when they're listening to it, it's today.
Yeah. It's today. Yeah,
it's today when they're listening.
I'll get on my flight to leave.
And then you're going to be leaving, going to UFC.
Yeah,
whatever.
Well, we'd love to hear your thoughts.
Nice.
We'd love to hear your thoughts. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter @DocandDevo, or on Facebook /Doctrine and Devotion. You can head to the website, doctrinedevotion.com. There you can contact us. You can sign up for the email blast from the store, joefostore.com, and grab some gear. We got that fresh pot every Monday and Thursday. We got blog posts and video content over at the website. And we got that all-access exclusive content. You got Banter Truth on Tuesdays, Weekday Wisdom, Monday through
Is this Banter
Friday.
Truth?
No, it's not.
Is this a bonus episode?
No,
Sorry, it's a bonus episode?
It's just Thursday's episode.
I don't remember.
You can head on over to doctrinedevotion.com /all-access to sign up today. Later.